great deal of effort to come here today. Finally, to the students I've come to adore greatly, I would like to first thank you honestly from the bottom of my heart, for allowing me to address you guys, my fellow colleagues. I'm beyond honored, actually, and humbled by this nomination. I hope that I can amount to what you expect of me. This discussion is on the importance of the white coat, so therefore we have to figure out what makes a white coat important. In pathology, we learn 5 distinct features of any given medical issue. First off, you have etiology, where it came from. The rest being identifying features, diagnoses, pathogenesis, and lastly, treatment and preventative measures. So, first off, where does the white coat come from? Obviously, it comes from getting into med school, right? That's the easy part, believe it or not. Next up is defining features. And to me, this is the most fun, because it makes whatever you're talking about unique, even though most of the time everything we've learned sounds the same. So what makes a white coat unique? What makes it special? This is the best view of the white coat. Just like Dr. Ochoa and Dr. David will ask you in histology, and believe me, in pathology, they're going to ask you, what color is it? And what does that mean? Like, you guys know this right now, right? If a lysosome is yellow, it means that lipofunction's inside of it and it's failing, right? Kidney has no blood coming to it, it's colorless. So therefore, the color defines it all. So there's our first important point. The white coat is white, right? I mean, except for the fact that you have your name over here and the school's name and emblem on the right side. Another distinguishing feature. So what does white mean? Traditionally, white means pure and clean, a fresh beginning and a new start. We were all born, grew up, we got into med school, now life starts over again. It's actually more like the lives we remember having are over. So it's not weird for someone here to say, I have no life. Because what we considered as lives, friends, television, parties, human communication in general, that's all over. Right? And I'm no longer Mark Hanna, but I'm doctor in training Mark Hanna. So let this be a rebirth for you. You can start over. Change whatever aspects you find lacking in yourself. Because the difference between being born and starting med school is now we actually have the ability to affect change in our lives. I'm sure all of our parents would have loved it if we could have all changed our own diapers. But none of us did that. Now you can. Get up in the morning, go to school, study till your brain is numb. Fight hard to care and understand the material the teachers give us. Whatever failure you think you have, right? Caging your true abilities inside of you needs to be uninhibited and unleashed all over the school and campus. You're now writing your own histories on this beautiful white coat. So now this ties in our names and the emblem of our medical school. I personally love the fact that the emblem and names are on different sides of the same white coat, because it establishes a common fight theme mentally, right? And to my right, in the blue corner, hailing from the Cayman Islands, the mental mauler, St. Matthew's University. And to my left, in the white corner, hailing from East Brunswick, New Jersey, new school, Mark Hanna. I mean, I don't need to say that it's us versus them, but it establishes a goal for both of us, and one that we're both aiming for. But we have to make it through. It's on us. 12 rounds becomes 5 semesters, and we will experience all the common fates a boxer will go through in a fight. We might get knocked down, sure, but the fight's never over. So if you fail a course, you can still keep fighting. We might have a tough round, right? A semester when everything seems to fall apart. But we get a short break to recuperate between rounds and talk to people in our corner. Parents, friends, cut men, etc. And then we make it back for the next round, fresh. Here's a big thing though. Never get disqualified by cheating in a match. And please, please keep this in mind. The white coat, and anything white for that matter, blemishes really easily. So don't make the mistake of tarnishing it so bad that it's literally unwearable. Never cheat in the school. Never even think about cheating in the school. Along with being incredibly intelligent, Dr. Brunn is actually a psychic, so don't mess around. I'm actually not kidding. She's a behavioral science teacher. She can do all that stuff. Okay? Next we have pathogenesis, which definitively is the way things change and what happens during those events involving those changes. So what changes can we expect to see on our white coats? First off, everything gets bigger. We're all proof of that. Okay? Do you know the difference between our white coats and the ones that the physicians get to wear is one of length? Get longer ones when we graduate. With graduation comes a longer coat and thus longer responsibilities and a propensity of all the motifs we've already talked about here today. Secondarily are changes to the cellular matrix, or the outside, because those are super important. We will see the product of our jobs every single day on our white coats. For the future ER doctors among us, expect to see blood every now and then when a patient comes in with a severe wound. For the pediatricians, expect a whole lot of baby puke across your chest. Not to mention other lovable childhood bodily functions. More importantly, though, for all of us, the tears which will fall across the straps of our shoulders when we console patients for losing a loved one. Or when families cry tears of joy as they embrace us, when we tell them everything went well and everything's going to be fine. Next is all the fun stuff we get to fill it with. Bet you're all wondering what's in my white coat, okay? Well, let me start by saying I do have my PD notes in here to the PD department. For my PD exam Monday, Dr. Bell, Dr. Salim, Dr. Platt, they're in here. Not kidding, they're right here. Okay. And all the cool little gadgets we get to carry as doctors, like reflex hammer, stack of gum, headphones. Here's my reflex hammer. I always carry it around with me just in case things get a little hairy on campus. Lastly, along with my name, personally, I have the name of a very dear friend printed across the inside of my jacket who went to school here and passed away a couple of semesters ago. His name's Mike Saig. That way, when I graduate from the school, he gets to put a jacket on too, because he definitely deserved it as much as I do. Therefore, what is the function of a white coat? A macrophage will eat up all the bad guys we have circulating in our bodies. Plasma cells will make our antibodies. Histamine vasodilates. So what does a white coat do? A white coat is magical. Really, 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 it's magical. For example, it causes an unexplained rise in blood pressure, an actual medical syndrome, white coat hypertension. It's amazing. This concept can no better be explained by a conversation I recently had with my brother, a very good-looking young man in his 4th year of medical school. He was going on about his day recently doing rounds. So he walks up to his first patient, this 45-year-old wealthy businessman, who was really rude to the staff. So when Matthew shows up, everything was managed because the guy wanted to see the doctor. So I then realized that first thing the white coat provides is peace to a disordered situation. Next he sees this terminally ill old woman, and he jokes around, he makes her smile, even though she hasn't a single thing to smile about. Not that much longer to live for. So then I realized the white coat can provide joy to an otherwise miserable individual. So he's going through this whole day, and finally he reaches the curtain of his last patient. And he draws the curtain back on his final patient, and sitting there is a 20-something-year-old bombshell. Right? As my brother would describe it, he goes, "Forget a leak, she wasn't even my sport, Mark." I was like, okay. Now, he nervously picks up the chart and realizes that she's here for regular pap smear. Matt, remembering that he has to prep this patient for the attending, takes a deep breath and very professionally says, "Please drop your pants." To which she replies, "Okay." Matt realized right then and there the power the white coat had, because in no other situation would he have ever been able to say that without being smacked or fired. The final thing we always learn is treatment and preventative measures. Always keep this coat clean and presentable. Never allow yourselves to give it up or to do something to lose the privilege of wearing this coat. And that's exactly what a white coat is. That's what we're talking about. White coat is a privilege. In a single word. Clean it, iron it, wear it with pride. I'd like to end with a quote from one of my favorite physicians of all time. It's probably not somebody you would expect. Che Guevara. Okay, well known for his guerrilla tactics, but he was actually a physician. So he says, one way of getting to the heart of the medical question is to not only to visit and become acquainted with the people who make up these cooperatives and work centers, us, but to find out what diseases they have and what sufferings they have. What would have been chronic miseries for years, and what have been the inheritance of centuries and repression of total submission? The doctor, the medical worker, must go to the core of his work, which is the man within the masses, the man within the collective. Always, no matter what happens in this world, the doctor is extremely close to his patient and knows the innermost depths of his psyche, because he is the one who attacks pain and mitigates it. He performs an invaluable labor of much responsibility and respect within society. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark.